Hey, welcome back to the Build It Basement, and today we're going to be working on our Z drive, specifically the linear rails, and a couple tips and tricks in there. So if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe, but let's jump right in it. So we've got our frame all built up here, everything squared up, base. I've already put in our T-nuts on this. So let's take a look at the manual and see what it's telling us we need to do. So picture of where we're going to wind up once the following steps are all done. Basically today we're going to focus strictly on getting these rails on, but then we have the idlers and then we have our drive units. But specifically Z drives, linear rails, overview, idlers, yes, okay. So basic linear rails. One of the big things they want you to note here is when you're working with your linear rails, they can slide all the way off if you do not have stoppers on them. Now, these ones came with rubber stoppers in them. Some of them come with zip ties in them. Some of them may not. They may come vacuum sealed, and that's what's holding them in place. If you do have a chance of them sliding off, you do want to put either a stopper or a zip tie or something through the hole so it can't slide all the way off, because what may happen is you may lose the bearings that are inside of this sled. Or carriage, whichever way you want to word that. I do have a video about prepping these 100%. So I will put a link in the description below, maybe something up where is it? Up there. Without further ado, let's start this up. So first thing I do is I'm going to grab this printer. I am going to grab this printer and rotate it while we're looking at that manual. And I am putting it so that the base is facing to my right and I have a flat surface in front of me. Specifically on this page, they're telling us that we should put screws in every other screw hole, which I do agree with. There's no need to put one in every single hole. There is just not that much happening with these, especially on these vertical ones. There's very little movements, very slow movements, not a lot. So let's see here. Back to, let's actually go with, is that better? Yeah, that's better. All right. So like I said, I got my rail in front of here. This is the bottom. It has the plates or the extrusions to mount our base plate onto. Here's our rail. I've already prepped these roll nuts in by putting them in. They're already spaced. The way I did that, just to go over it quickly, is actually, here's a pro tip real quick. The manual will call out on the next page. Yes, let me show you that real quick. On the next page, that you should be about 3 millimeters from the base of your bottom extrusion. So the way that it's not that one. It's not the one I want. I want this one. Yeah. The way that I do it is if you measured these guides, which you should have printed, these are the guides that you use to basically hold your rail on center. The thickness of this part right here, not this way, but this way, the thin part, is about 3 millimeters. So if you take your guide and you put it on your extrusion down here on the bottom, you put it on both sides if you like, if you're really paranoid, we'll put you at about 3 millimeters away from the bottom. So once you do that, you should be pretty close to being where you want to be. So, I'm trying to remember which way I have these set up for. Yeah, like that. All right. So again, put these on. That'll give you your 3 millimeter real quick. Easy way to do that. And then you can start lining up your roll nuts. Now the line up your roll nuts, since you're going every other one, you're never ever going to extend below this bottom. Your plate's actually gonna be on top there, and you're actually gonna be substantially higher than that anyways. So having a connection point at the very end doesn't mean anything on this one. So this is the one that I decided to stick one up from. So I hold my 3 millimeters, and then basically I work my way up, line them up by eye, go through them, set them up like that. Then once you have them about where you want, you put your rail back on, use your guides at this point, and set it like this, and like this, and you'll have your 3 millimeters and you'll be centered. But before we do that, we need to put a little thread lock in these holes. So, a little side note here is you can put thread locker on either the screw / bolt or the nut / T-nut, or whatever you got. So I'm going to fill up those holes just with a quick dab. I'm going to put that back on. I'm going to get it spaced out. I'm going to put my first holder like that. Now that I got that where I want it. Put my second one up here. Oh, kind of lost that. And that'll keep us centered and where we need to be. You are going to be using a lot of M3 screws during this process. So, what I'm going to do to help speed things along is I'm going to use my Dremel. Bosch makes the exact same tool. You can buy them, I think Lowe's has them here in the States, but you can find them. And I have the torque set all the way down to the lowest point because I'm not actually using this to finalize anything. I'm just using this to start my screws. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work my way back and forth. So center, either left or right, opposite side, and then I'm going to jump back to the other side, jump back to the other side. Whoop. Whoop. There we go. And then over to this side. And then I can slide that over now. Don't try to slide that when you have screws in them that aren't screwed down. Your sled will hit. Probably won't cause any damage, but could. And last but not least, the guy over here in the end. So like I said, that was just to get these on here. Actually, I'm gonna leave that on just for another second or two. My rail is fine, it's going that good. But now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna hand tighten these and move these to the far ends as far as I can put them. I'm gonna do the same thing, same order, and I'm just going to give them a good little tweak. We don't need to go super, super hard. We just wanna go hard enough where we're comfortable that they are, for one, all about the same, and for two, aren't going to come out. And you can tell if you use something electric like that, even though it has a clutch on it, and it should be relatively close every time you use it. These are all different levels of doneness, so feels pretty good. And we still have our 3 millimeters down there. Yep. So at this point, this rubber stopper dilly hooky thingy right here, we can take that one off, and we can't go beyond it. The one on top, I would leave on top. You can print a piece to put on the end here so that you won't go beyond that with your sled on your rail. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and leave that on there. The stopper. Stop us from having any headaches. All right, I'm going to go ahead and roll this. And I'm going to do the opposite corner. And I'm going to go ahead and pause the video because you don't need to watch me do this over and over again. And just working to try to keep these a little bit quicker. So I'll be back with you in a moment. And we're back. All right, so we've gone ahead and we've put all 4 rails on here. We've looked through, we've done all of the carriage stuff and the centering stuff and the 3mm stuff. And then the rail safety stuff that we talked about. And then they want us to do the remaining Z rails. So we got all those on, and I will bring you back to where I am. Let's go here. And so now we got all of our rails on, and just one more note I want to make, and that's where you're installing these rails. They are not facing inside towards the extrusions that your bed's mounting on. They are facing towards each other on the insides of the sides of the printer. So again, on the insides of the inside of the printer, facing front to back, not towards these. So if you're mounting on these, they're on the wrong ones. You need to be on these ones. Got it? Cool. Good. All right. Make sure rails face. Yep. Hey, same thing I just said. Cool. Now they want us to print this, flip this printer upside down, put some M5 T-nuts in, and keep moving forward, right? So I'm gonna keep the front towards me. Like I said before, I like to try to keep my orientation to match, or pretty well match. Let's see here, is this one good? Nope, that one's definitely not good. Let's try one more here. Yeah, we can do it with that one. All right, so let's see if we can do what we need to do. Pull this way up high and face it there. So these are the centers. Pardon the motion sickness I'm trying to impose on everybody. Just trying to get a decent angle here. Stand by. There, that should work. These are our rails. They match up with what we have on the screen here. We're here. So our M5s are going to go on these center braces. So we need 4 of them. 2, 3, and then grab our 4th one. And just for funsies, we're going to keep them facing the same direction. I'm going to face these ones in towards each other. That. And like this. And we're going to be putting the bottom panel on, but the bottom panel actually is only held on through the DIN rails we're actually putting on here as well. So we're just setting the bottom panel on, and that actually brings me to one of the fun things I got. Let's go back to this right here. This is one of the aluminum plastic sandwiched parts that I got from KB-3D. That's going to stop it from flexing, stop it from bending over time through the heat and whatnot. So pretty cool there. And the first thing I got to do is take the plastic off of this thing because it came protected. So the kit does come with a standard black, I think it's polycarbonate, it's probably acrylic piece to put on here. And by all means, you go ahead and utilize that piece. I would suggest, and if I can find them quickly, I will put them in the notes for this video. There are clips that you can manufacture, you can print off, that will stop your panels from bowing and flexing too much. It won't stop it 100%, but it will help. And I strongly suggest that you do that if you're not going to be buying extra parts. So this is the front of the printer, like I talked about before. I like to try to keep front right here. Try to keep it in the same perspective as I see in the drawing. And the reason for that is, if you note, they're showing us right here that this is the front and this is the back. This notch right here needs to go towards the back. So on our printer, when I'm building, it means it needs to go like that. That also means that my peanuts are nowhere near where they need to be. So we got to move those around a little bit. I think these ones need to go back quite a bit. That's pretty good. And then these ones need to come forward quite a bit. Look at that. Golden. Perfect. Wow. I'm going to center them up just a little bit more. Like that. All right. So we have our aluminum plate and we have a notch in the back, not the front. Nope. Notch in the back, not the front. And we need to grab our DIN rails. Where are my DIN rails? They're over here. And the DIN rails are going to go across. So let me do this here. Our bed mounting extrusions are going this way, front to back from where I am. This is the front over here. This is the back here. These are going across opposite of that, pretty much at a 90 degree from those. So we're gonna line those up like that. And we're gonna use some M5 by 10s. And I'm going to use, I'll just go ahead and use some liquid thread locker on these. Let's see here, no washers or anything on these, so you don't need them. What does it say? Align T-nuts with holes, yes. And then it slots and rails you don't line up. T-nut, you shorten the DIN rails by a few millimeters. Yeah, so these DIN rails that we got, no, I actually want to make sure, I think it only comes with 2 DIN rails, but those ones look a little suspiciously short, but I think that's fine based on what we're mounting to it. So anyways, they can come all the way out to the edges, but I think we're good. What we got, not a big deal. So let's go ahead and put a little thread locker on this guy. Drop him into place. And then grab the next one and do the same. So there are a ton of different thread lockers out there. I think Loctite's probably the worldwide most popular one. This is from Zap. Zap actually makes a lot of super glue, some really good hot heat super glue. Make a whole wide line of that, and they actually make this thread lock too, and I like it just as well as the other stuff. Some people will even use trying to kind of center these. We'll even use clear fingernail polish. It's pretty popular. Another popular one might be super glue. But if you do use super glue, that'd be more equivalent to using a red thread locker than a blue thread locker. Super glue is going to be pretty permanent. You can get it apart eventually, but it's not going to happen quickly and easily. Not going to be good for maintenance. Basically, all this blue thread locker is doing is stopping the screws from wiggling away out. So, there, that is on there. We're good. All right, so let's see, back, front, print orientation. Yes, yes, top, back. Let's go ahead and flip this back around. They're showing that bottom picture there, or actually one on the right, as having the drives already on there, which we obviously haven't put on yet. This is way more rigid than the standard plastic. And just another quick note here is when building the printer, this is a relatively flat, bench. There's nothing, it's basically like a butcher block. It's pretty dang flat, sanded smooth and everything like that. But we printed this on another better, flatter surface, and look at that. It goes to prove that what I thought was, or what I consider a relatively flat surface, which is this desk, is nowhere near flat. So be mindful of that type of stuff. Yeah? All right. So let's take a look at what we got. And actually, let's go to this camera right here and just set ourselves up for moving good, because basically this is going to come off the desk at this point. But we have our bottom plate in, we have our extrusions on for our bed mounting. In our case, it's going to be a kinematics bed mount. We have our linear rails in. This is a recap on those. I did take the stoppers off the bottom because these can no longer go any further than the bottom. We did leave the top ones on just as, in case we flip this around, they decide to slide. We have a squared up frame and we are good to keep on moving forward. All right, so that's gonna be it for this video. Next video, we're gonna work on the Z drive units, and then we're going to start to actually have some working motion things going on here. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit subscribe, go ahead and like, leave a comment below if you have any comments, and I will see you next time.